So, are you down to clown? I've literally had someone ask me that before, because they were like the whole like clowning thing, to where it's not like they're like actual like clowns at a carnival, but they're like all about the clown aesthetic. So, have you like ever heard that before? Are you down to clown? Are you here to clown? You clowning with us?
I have not, but do you remember back, I believe, like, what was it, like 2021? There was a whole
Mhm.
clown shabacle going around where it's like, shabacle? Tabacle? Uh,
Yeah,
what is
close enough.
what is the word?
Debacle. It's with a D.
I
Shabaco.
cannot
You know,
think of
that reminded me of
the
the. It's like something out of like Family Guy, like Shaboopy, Shaboopy.
That's what I was thinking
Shabaco.
of.
Oh my god, you Peter Griffin.
Oh, okay.
You
Well,
totally Peter Griffin.
do you remember how like all those like clown or like there were people going out like harassing people and like hurting people
Yeah, like
dressed
for
as
the
clowns?
clowns.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
thanks.
Well, down to clown. Unfortunately, it's not for that specifically. Oh man.
Oh,
Um.
yeah, no, I don't do anything with clowns, so if anyone ever said that to me, I would probably cry.
Well, that's
I
not
like actual cry.
entirely true.
I would cry.
Technically, with the book that we read, it definitely does have to do with clowns.
He's not a clown. He's like a jester.
No. But that's like, jesters are just an old-fashioned clown.
Okay, but I can handle them. I can't handle whatever.
You can't have the red nose.
If it honks, I don't want it.
If it honks, it got stonks.
Oh god. Well, hello
Oh
everyone.
man. Hello. I'm Aqua.
I'm Elvish. This is Violet.
Welcome to that core narrative.
Yes.
We're
Oh,
here clowning. We're clowning today.
I know. Today we are discussing Satan's Affair by our lovely H.D. Carlton.
Mm-hmm. The one who did the Counted Mouse series of Haunting and Hunting Adeline.
Yes. We are actually finishing up the series this week. We have Satan's Affair now, and spoiler alert, Phantom next? Maybe? Maybe?
Mhm. Oh,
Maybe.
in case you didn't know, we have spoilers around here.
Yeah, Sharon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run out of
Yeah.
names eventually.
We're just gonna say the same. We'll just reverse the same name. Deal with it. Okay.
It's gonna be the
Deal with it,
point
guys.
where if we ever have like a Chad or a Sharon follow us, they just get blocked immediately.
I know.
You
Be
are not
careful when you're
welcome here.
Yes.
We're gonna
Unless
get
you like.
someone in the comments that says totally not Chad. I'm just gonna be like,
I'll keep my eye on you. Do like the fry like squint eye thing. You know me.
Well, Satan's Affair is a very, very short book. I know Aqua doesn't really like hearing this word, but it is a novella. I know that it's not what novella actually means, but you know what? In the world of authors, this is a novella for the cat mouse duet, but it's
yeah.
not. Does that make sense?
Guess it's a novella. It's
So,
look, I'm Hispanic, all right? We have certain criterias, okay? I'm just saying. But we're not
oh
gonna
wow,
talk
that
about
was loud. I opened my drink and that shit just like screamed. Okay, but like, so if you're not too familiar with the cat mouse duet, it is obviously a duet, so there's only two books. There's Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. However, there are two side books that are in the series, but not in the series. Like, they're not considered in the series, but they're in the series. I know that's really confusing, but Satan's Affair is technically 1.5-ish. Technically, if we're being honest with you, it's going at the exact same time of Haunting Adeline. Because the ending of Haunting Adeline and the ending of Satan's Affair actually,
line up.
yeah, they actually line up, and it's like the same thing, but it gets to it shows you more of what happens rather than just like, this is what happened. The end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly, I was actually really looking forward to this because this is about one of my favorite psychotic characters from Haunting
yes.
Adeline. Hmm.
Yes. This
And I
book,
think now I can mention that that I am. So we have already done the Adeline series, and I mentioned that I actually read stuff out of order,
yes.
which actually worked out for me, and now I can say it. So, you guys ready? Or actually, you know what? Do you want to go ahead and get a synopsis first, and then go from there?
Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay, okay, okay.
You got
All
this.
right.
I believe in you.
I have notes. I mean, if you're new here, I do a lot of notes. So I have 2 pages worth of notes. Sit back.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long because I kind of fly through it, but sit back.
Sit back and relax.
All right. So we have Satan's Affair. We follow our female main character, Sybil, or as you guys know her, Sibby. We do have 5 side characters. Well, we have more than 5, but mainly 5. We have all 5 of her henchmen by the names of Jackal, Mortis, Bane, Cronus, and Timothy, which I find that this is very important. So here are all 5 of the henchmen. Mortis is the neediest, but he has the thinnest yet biggest. Wah wah. Bane has a very weird relationship with food. We're assuming it comes from parental abuse. Cronus is mute, so we don't know his origin story. Jackal is the hot one, the most like intermediate, I guess, and he is what she considers the walking weapon. And then we have Timothy. I didn't catch a description for him. I mean, there was really no description for him, so yeah. They all kind of wear scary masks. Some of them have claws, teeth, whatever. And then the book kind of goes back into Sibby's past. We do get to hear about her mother and father. Her father, being a cult leader, actually, he bought 100 acres of land, built 10 large homes, practically living in a church, housing members of his cult. He believes he is one of God's disciples. He makes his followers brown chicken, brown cow, who, yeah.
With him.
Yep, all men and women. And he abuses his wife. I'm not sure if it matters, but her father was Romanian. Her mother is only 29 years old, gave birth to Sibby at age 11, heavily abused by her husband. She did end up poisoning herself, so she unsubscribed from life. The husband went and unalived absolutely everyone in his cult because he thought he couldn't figure out who gave his wife the poison. Basically, it says that Sibby escaped the father's cult and found henchmen towering over an unalived body. She worked inside of Satan's Affair, which is the carnival that makes a countrywide tour.
The traveling carnival.
Yeah. She has the ability to smell horrible people within a crowd, and she likes to unsubscribe and play with them. She
Forcibly unsubscribe them.
Yeah. And she does describe them as smelling of rotten egg or like meat demons. One of Sibby's coworkers came into work claiming that her boyfriend raped her when he ended up coming to the fair later on. Sibby did steal him away, tortied him, think of what that word means, and unsubscribed him, specifically allowing her very spiked bat to insert itself in specific holes. And the ending ties to the ending of Haunting Adeline. As I mentioned, Zaid does make an appearance. This is where Zaid, if you remember in Haunting Adeline, Zaid is watching Addie and Daya with the senators that are going in, and the senators are basically attempting to follow Adeline into the haunted house attraction, whatever, to attempt to kidnap her. And this is where Sibby takes him and with Zaid has their way with them. We then also find out that Sibby and her henchmen, once the cops do arrive, this is where Haunting Adeline goes back to Adeline and Zayd, and we don't get to see what else happens. But in Satan's Affair, we see that Sibby and her henchmen do get in a cop car and they try to make a getaway. They do end up getting caught, and Sibby is taken to a mental hospital where they talk about her psychosis and schizophrenia. Um, she has hallucinated all of her henchmen, which originally have just been mannequins. Um, One of her mannequins shows up at the end and encourages her to unalive her therapist, and she does, and that's pretty much the book. The book is incredibly spicy. Sibby and her henchmen are freaky, and
Freaky
yeah,
deaky.
yeah.
Very freaky deaky.
Well,
Yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis.
yeah,
And I will say I'm very like I was mentioned earlier. I'm very glad that I read this book or read it out of order because it gave me some context about Sybil, so that when I went to Hunting Adeline, the second book of the series, where in Hunting Adeline she did make an appearance with the group, become part of the group, made so much sense of why she acted the way she did
right,
during that book. And I was like, oh my god, I know exactly why. And if no one had read Satan's Affair, they might be a little bit confused because it was like, wait, hold up. But there was like all these henchmen and all this other stuff. But like, I could see how people can get confused by it because in
right,
Haunting they did meet Sybil as well as the henchmen and all that. So, but now it all comes together. And it makes things like fit well, like it's the thing of like you have an extra puzzle piece to add a little bit more to like a puzzle that you put together. It just added a few extra pieces that just made the puzzle just a little bit bigger, if that makes sense. It showed more of a picture, I guess, a clearer picture of how some of the characters are and why they are what they are. And as most people would know, and as Elvish knows, I do like context, and I do like having more of kind of like lore building when it comes to like even background characters if I like them. And Sybil I liked because she was crazy. I don't know why I liked her.
no, I really did like her, and like
Yeah.
it did make a lot of sense. I didn't expect her to come back in the second book, but then it does make sense on why she was so heavily attached to her men. But then it also makes sense now on why Adeline is just like, there's nobody here. Like, this bitch is crazy. But
Yeah.
I find it very upsetting that, like, I don't know how to phrase that. Like, I find it so upsetting that, like, she's having these genuine interactions and very heartfelt moments, specifically Jackal. Let's be so real.
Yeah.
But it's just herself, and that makes me really sad knowing that like her mother is gone, her father was the whole reason why basically everyone is gone, and the only person that she can see to trust outside of her henchmen was Zayd. And I'm very glad that Zayd kind of took on the older brother role, if that makes sense, like bringing her back into the second book. But
Honestly, it almost felt like more of like a pseudo dad role in some cases. Almost felt like a kid, like a stepdad. It gave me stepdad vibes. I don't know. I felt stepdad vibes, but I could see the sibling vibe too.
yeah, I mean, I do see the sibling vibe. I mean, I kind of wish it went a little bit more into detail on Sibby's like mental health a little bit, because I kind of want to know a little bit more of her psychosis and like a little bit more with the schizophrenia, because I do feel like it kind of just breezed past the fact that all of her henchmen are mannequins and like they don't actually, because they said that there is video evidence that she never physically like picks them up and moves them, but they're always with her. I kind of wish there was a little bit more detail in that.
Yeah. I
But
think
then
they
think
kind of
about it.
explain it. I mean, they kind of explain it to where like it was all in her head, like in her mind, that's what happened. But she still did everything like a normal person would. But in her
Right.
head, that's where it all changes because it's her perception of reality, and
Right.
her
The
perception
only
is not good.
the only part that kind of confused me though was the time when her and her henchmen were in the cop car making a getaway. It specifically describes her being in the passenger seat. I think Mortis might be the one driving, if I remember correctly. And
Hmm.
she's kind of like sitting on her side, kind of, or like, she's sitting sideways in the chair, kind of like talking to him, like, have you ever done this before? He's like, no, I'm nervous. But then it shows, I think it said whenever they got her, she was the one driving the car. So
Yeah.
there is I understand, and I'm not saying this on like how the book was written. I'm saying this on like if this was like a real life case. I'm having a hard time understanding how she is. Bless you. I have explicit, like, big boy sneezed.
Ah, I see.
Um, I'm having a hard time understanding how she's in the passenger seat in her reality, but in like the driver's seat in actual reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But
And the
not
only thing
like for the writing, just like how she is mentally. Like, how are you that mentally off put where you're in two places at once? There we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think
Nothing
that's
on the
just the
writing, I promise.
extent. Yeah, I think it's just the extent of her mental issues. Because given what the book says about what she went through, and not to mention for how long she went through it, it makes sense. She had to completely dissociate it just to survive, mentally. Because I think she would have checked out on her own, just like her mom did, if she didn't do that. Like her mind, her brain, like that's the power of the human brain. It created its own reality, believable reality for survival. And a lot of people, from what I understand or what I've understood before, is that it would do anything to survive. Your
Yeah.
brain will just automatically do it. It'll default itself. And it comes to the point where you yourself won't even realize it because, well, it is your own brain anyways doing it. So to me, that's the only reason why. It's because, well, her mind made her perceive it that way because that is exactly how it perceived itself, just for its survival. Because when it comes to a lot of stress, that's what happens. And she's never driven. I think she explained at some point where she didn't know how to deal with the real world because she was, in the cult. She never learned how to drive because she never to go anywhere else out of the cult. So of course, she would be, stressed out about driving because she
Right.
has no idea. Not to mention, she's being chased. She's over here about to lose everything, or at least in her mind, she's going to lose everything. So, all of
So would
that
you assume that it's
equals
like
stress.
disassociation?
Yes, in a way, it's like association, but at the same time present for it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like basically, she gave herself third person view.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
I like no, I loved this book. I really did. I know we'll get to it later, but I actually the amount of love I have for this book is not reflected in my review, my rating,
Hmm.
but like this book is heavily spicy as
Oh
I
yeah.
mentioned at the beginning to a point where I feel like it was taken a little bit too far. I feel like there was I feel like majority now mind you this book is under 200 pages long. I think this book is like 100 and like 30 pages or something like that. But at least I feel like maybe 45 to 50 of those pages is just her and Jackal or her, Jackal and Mortis. And that's fine. But if it were a longer book and gave us more insight to how she lives, how her and her henchmen are, I feel like I would have enjoyed that a little bit more. But seeing how it was quite literally half, if not like 3/4 of the book, it was a little bit too much and kind of put me back a little bit, but not necessarily. Like, there was actually, I don't remember the scene. I don't remember the scene. I think it was the one where it was her, Jackal, and Mortis. It actually was like, ew, you know? And it takes a lot. It takes a lot for a spicy scene to make me ew. And it did it, surprisingly.
Really?
It's surprisingly right. Like, it doesn't, it's very, very, very rare. I think
I was actually fine with it, honestly.
I think it's the way that so the thing is, if you haven't read the Cat Mouse Duet and you're just along for the ride, obviously all you like us. No, but H.G. Carlton is very, very good at descriptions. And for me personally, in that particular scene, that particular sentence, I feel like there was way too much description, and I'm just like, ew, well, that's kind of gross. You know?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I think I know which part specifically you're talking about. And I was like, ew. But I just kind of
Right, like it didn't. Right, exactly. I ignored it. I went on. I forgot about it. That's why I can't even like fully pinpoint the scene. I forgot about it. It's fine. But like for once, a scene like that actually made me like, or like I didn't audibly say ew, but you know, like that face you get with like the scrunched up nose and like the quirked lip. That's what I
cringed.
That's what
cringed a bit.
I was like, But, I guess for starters, we can go ahead and do our ratings and then discuss anything else that we might need to. Me personally, I gave this book a 4-star.
Ooh, really?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. I like Sibby. I didn't think I was gonna like her whenever Haunting Adeline came around. I'm not gonna lie to you. The first encounter I had with her, she was kind of obnoxious. She was just out there. I think a little bit too sporadic for my liking. She did grow on me, obviously, the more that I was able to digest her and her personality. And then Hunting Adeline came around. She was still sporadic, but like I said, I had time to digest her and like her personality. And I think for me personally, I'm more of a chilled, more like calmer person. So she was a little bit too out there for me. I absolutely love Sibby now. I enjoyed her henchmen a lot. Some of them are actually quite funny. Some of them.
Did you enjoy the clown one?
You know what?
Well,
Forget it. Forget it.
We're waiting.
Forget it.
We're waiting.
I'll skip that.
We're waiting.
Which one was the clown one? Was that Bane?
I think that was Bane. Yeah. No. It was either Bane or Mortis.
I don't remember.
think it was Mortis. I know it was either Bane.
Jackal had the claws.
Yeah, Jackal had the claws. He was more. I picture him more of like the Freddy Krueger. The other one was more like Jason, but it was either Mortis or Bane that was the more clown-like.
Yeah, well, I can't remember. I think it was Bane. I do kind of wish, though, if I'm being completely honest, in my personal opinion, and this is just me being absolutely picky, this means nothing to the review or like the rating, but this is just me being picky. You have 5 henchmen, and this is kind of like to the author. You know, I love her writing so much, and I'm gonna do everything I can to read every book that she has. She's like one of my favorite authors now. But you go out of your way to write a super descriptive world that you could just immerse yourself into. You have these 5 henchmen, but you only write descriptions for 3 of them. Like I said, Timothy didn't really have any descriptions. He was just mentioned by name. And then, I mean, technically 4 of them, because Cronus is mute. We don't know anything about him. And then Bane, you know that he doesn't really eat his food because he, I guess, was maybe abused and possibly raped as a child. That's what I'm getting at, because he doesn't like putting food in his mouth. So he has like a weird relationship there. But like the thing is, like, you do such a great job with every book that you write, and you're so overly descriptive about everything But then once you make 5 henchmen, half of them aren't even described. And so, me being picky, I'm just like, okay, well, that didn't take away from the book, but now that I like the book so much and I like this entire series, I want to know more about them. I want to know who they are.
Yeah. But I think also, like, from that, keep in mind that they never existed. These is
Right.
all just part of her mind.
I wonder,
So
yeah.
so keep that in mind. These people don't exist. They're not real. This is literally the whole Patrick thing. The inner machination of my mind are an enigma. This is literally all in her head. I truly believe that each aspect of her henchman is just different aspects of her fractured mind.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like
I wonder
parts
if
of her that are more
it's
pronounced. Like I think the
right.
ones that are least descriptive are the deeper parts of her.
Like the ones that
And
she's
maybe
lived through.
exactly the
Like
ones
the
that
one
where
oh.
she keeps
Oh,
hitting.
don't say that.
Hmm.
Don't say that because now with Bane and the possible stuff behind him not liking food, that makes me
Yeah.
sad because that makes me think that her father attempted stuff with her. Oh,
Well,
I'm
it,
gonna cry.
it
No, like I'm actually gonna
um
cry. That is so sad.
I hate to break it to you, but
That
they
is
definitely alluded to that in the book.
they did, but I chose to ignore it.
Yes. Hmm. So, like I said, each henchman, it's literally a mirror of her trauma turned to personification for her to deal with it.
That's so sad.
It is. Like Sybil's story is just brutal. It is so brutal. And it gives more to literally a side character. She is a side character in the overarching series. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's crazy. For
Yeah.
me, I think you're ready for my rating, but I think you kind of already know where my rating's gonna be.
I have a feeling, but I'm not quite sure if I'm being honest with you. Like I'm leaning in like 3 different directions.
Well, you'd be surprised because I gave this book a very good rating. Okay.
Okay.
Really good rating. Yeah, loved the book. Loved it. Everything about it. So good. Totally not stalling on purpose. I give this a 4.75.
I will fucking murder you. I swear to God, bro. You and your fucking 7.5s. We need to fully ban that number. No, that's fine.
Why?
That's fine.
To be honest, like you said, I kind of wanted more of her psyche. I wanted a
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
I was left wanting more, and that's why I didn't want to give it a 5. I guess like a the thing is I wanted more of what's going on with her. I wanted more of like the deep part of her, the part that where she forces herself to have that dissociation. I wanted more of that. And
Right.
I was left lacking. That's why I can't give it a 5. But my emotion towards it is a 5. But my actual rating is a 4.75.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can see that. I was really leaning on that too. I was kind of leaning on giving it a higher rating, except for the fact that, like I said, I feel like with half of it being what it was a little bit too drawn out for no reason. But
Yeah.
I feel like if I really want her, I know she won't, but I really want her to come out with a second Sybil book because I need more of her and I need more of her henchmen. I need to know what she's up to. I'm gonna say it. I want to take on like the big sister route and then just like kidnap her and let her live a happy life because she fucking deserves it. She's like what, 23 now?
Barely. Yeah. All this happened to her so young. And yeah, no, I agree. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was very rough. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got, really. I mean, we kind of like all the extra stuff I want to talk about. I kind of just kind of went through it already.
Yeah. And I mean, there's other
Yeah,
things I want to talk about, but then of course, most of the book, as I just mentioned like twice, most of the book is incredibly spicy, and we can't talk about that here. But
yeah,
no, honestly, it was a really really good book. I kind of regret giving it such a low rating, but I feel like it's good to leave it at that just because yeah, I understand that her and her henchmen are kind of freaky, and I understand that they have a thing for one another. I get that, and don't get me wrong, I did want that in the book. We needed to see that to understand her personality and understand hunting a little bit, but I feel like I needed more of like the plot in this one, which I don't ever really say,
yeah.
you know? So I don't know. It's weird that it's like the roles are reversed this time, you know?
Yeah, it is kind of funny,
Right?
but I think even Satan's affair. I don't think there really much the plot was other than like just the fact that it's just about her. The
Right.
plot is just her
Which
and
I think that's
how.
what I want. I just want more of her.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of in the same boat. Me of more of like the as like the of the the mental aspect, and I think you're more in general.
Yeah.
If I'm guessing correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no. I just yeah, I want to see more of what happened. But no, it was
yeah,
good. It was good. I liked it.
same here.
But yeah, I think this was a very very short book, so I'm
It was.
surprised this video is actually
It
as
was a
long
good
as it
one.
was.
I think because we just enjoyed it so much.
It
That's why.
honestly,
Short book or not, if it's good and we love it, then it just happens. You know.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
this is definitely a book that I'm going to recommend.
Mhm.
Now the thing is the only I guess the last thing I'll say, if I recommend the series to someone who's never read it before, I would personally suggest Phantom and then Haunting and then Hunting. My not worry, but like my concern is where to put this book because this book isn't necessarily 1.5, but it's also not a prequel. Like I said, it matches up with Haunting at the very end. So it's kind of hard to put it before or after because then if you put it before, you're going to get the Haunting and you're going to be like, oh, that's where that's from, which is cool. But then at the same time, it might spoil some things, you know?
And if it were me, I would have this book after Haunting. Definitely before Hunting, but after Haunting. Mostly because like one, you don't get any spoilers, so that immediately fixed that issue. And two, if you do like the character or like curious about the character, you already have something. And not to
Yeah.
mention, you'll just get more in depth of the lore, the quote unquote lore and the world and character building. So that when you get to hunting, you already have everything behind you. So it makes everything wrapped up much nicer, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, so I would definitely say Satan should be read after hunting. Obviously before hunting. But yeah.
Well, there's that.
Yeah. Well yeah.
Well,
Well, Violet, I think we're gonna I think we should get some I think I'm gonna get a little outfit for Violence after, after we leave the studio here.
oh,
I think she might look nice in a little gesture outfit.
oh
Maybe,
my
maybe
god.
a little red nose. What do you think, Violet? What do you think?
In the next episode, you see Violence is no longer here.
And then you see me as like a inflatable tube arm man instead.
right? Right?
Mm. You just see dirt on your face too. You'd be like, "Hey, look, we got Aqua 2.0. It's his cousin. He's doing this from now on. Yay!" Don't ask about the other one. And and Violet, she's been a bad kitty, so she's no longer allowed in the studio. Ha ha ha.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have to see next episode to find out then.
Oh my god. Well, I guess we'll have to see you next episode, yeah?
Yeah. See you guys
Oh,
next episode.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.